And our next question would be actually to Peter, asking, I think picking up on what Bert said, you know, how can we unite the visions of the different CISPLAN industrial initiatives, but still how can, especially in the nuclear field, such a process be a stronger process of collaboration between public and private, between industry and public funding?
So as I already explained a little bit, so we have to make a distinction between, let's say, the short-term objectives, so the maintaining competitiveness and the safe operation of the current nuclear power plants. There it's much easier to integrate the industry together with the research, because also there's availability of money and from the industry mainly, complemented by money from the research. And you're not so much relying on public funding from the member states. Whereas if you go to, let's say, the longer term application, so developing new demonstration reactors, there the input from the member states, so public money, is much more important. And there is, the main difficulty is to align the different national programs. And without any incentives to do that, it is much more difficult. So from the integration or the action plan, we would like to see some instruments that would enable that, and also, of course, some glue money to convince some national programs to align themselves with other programs in order to get a more critical mass in order to realize the things that have been put forward into a joint programming. So these are the main challenges that we foresee. Of course, we are also interacting with the, let's say, EERA through the joint program on nuclear material. But also there we have developed the joint programming, we have established the different projects. But as long as it was supported through FP programs, it went really well. But if it has to rely only on national member states' contributions, and you don't have, let's say, a glue money to direct them in one direction, it becomes much more difficult, and you see that the momentum risks to be lost. So my main conclusion would be that you need some priority setting in the joint programming, you need instruments, but you need also some glue money. Without those three conditions, I don't think it will be very efficient, or you will not have a very efficient and effective implementation plan. Thank you.
Following up on that, yes, microphone works, excellent. And this next question actually to Teresa, kind of the same question in a way, but it's about how one links research through to commercial deployment and engagement with industry. So, your perspective.
Can I have to add one? Okay, thank you. So to answer this question, I would like to begin by coming back to the smart specialization, which I think it's very important so that we can use appropriately the structural funds, and to remind that smart specialization is not about being smart in doing things, but it's about aggregating. It's about doing things by putting together all the stakeholders and all the competencies or the best we have in society. And to assure that we are able to do that, we should, and that we do better by sharing, we should, I think the European Commission has an important role in monitoring and to assure delivery. And so coming back to joint programming and to the question that was put, I think joint programs take advantage either from structural funds and from the European Commission funds, and they align their priorities with the low carbon technologies of Europe. They are in conditions to evolve even to virtual institutes, which is a way to include everyone around Europe. And the priorities are made according to the EU priorities, but also to the industrial priorities. And I stress again what I said before, that the exercise in building the integrated roadmap was a very useful exercise to put behind the Commission and beyond the stakeholders how able the joint programs are to deliver cooperation and put forward innovation priorities. The example that was given by the nuclear industrial initiative is representative of that. So this dialogue between joint programs and industrial initiatives has been very profuse and has oriented our research regarding the needs. But also there is another important step and an important role of joint programs. By putting forward and aligning strategically the research, they also highlight the needs, the skills that are needed. And this is also a contribute for universities, so that they can orient their curricula in order to deliver very good professionals that will be consumed by the industry and that will be adequate to industry needs. I would like also to highlight that almost joint programs of EERA, at least those that are more mature, are ready to deliver. They are able to apply for funds from the H 2020, but some of them need some more strategic funding so that they can really deliver in a systemic and integrated way and make the difference regarding the results that we all need in Europe. The programs are there, so the joint programs are ready to deliver results that will enhance, for sure, the European Union, the Energy Union.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, the question would come up, because we talked about the industrial initiatives and the European Energy Research Alliance, both of them very important pillars of the SET plan, the research pillar, the industrial pillar. Now, how can they really enter into a dialogue with the SET plan, with the SET plan steering group? How's the experience and what would be your vision to make this happen? Peter and then.
Okay, so I think that there is already a collaboration and an integration of the EERA and especially I'm talking about ESNI, so about certain industrial initiatives. So there the collaboration between industry and research has been established, and to my opinion, in several cases also the joint vision has been established. Now it's also a question to roll it out. And this, to my opinion, can not only rely on national programs, but you need to have an entity that will bring together those programs to a common goal. And I think that European Commission and European Vision can help in that.
Okay. Would you agree? Would you agree?
Yes. Yes, I agree. I think there's a lot of good practice that can come out from this collaboration, and this is one example. But we have a lot of more examples of collaboration with industrial initiatives.
Thank you.
I think our last two questions are really about the later stages of the TRL journey. Several of us have talked about the importance of pulling the research and the applied technology through to commercialization. So first question to our EIB colleague and then to our KIC colleague. Can you talk a little bit about some of the innovative financing instruments that would be needed to address this and how the EIB can facilitate that?
Yes, I'd like to get 45 minutes for this, but I'm afraid I have only 2 minutes time. A clear need is that if we seriously want to finance R&D operations, we have to deal with counterparts that are not necessarily investment grade. And this is the challenge on the whole matter. If all our counterparts were investment grade, then we wouldn't have an issue. And this also relates to the comment you made. There's so much liquidity out there, but it's not necessarily risk-seeking liquidity. And the challenge is to crowd this money into our projects. And that is why since 2007, as far as I'm aware, the Commission and us are developing these financial instruments. Imagine that the general logic is that public monies are there to a small fraction in a project to take a first hit if there is one. And the rest of the monies is then at a higher rating involved in the financing of a project. And if you size this properly, you have enormous leverage on this public money which is being spent, and ideally it can be recycled afterwards if it's not consumed. And you still have reduced, you've de-risked the whole operation for all other participants. And this is a general logic that we apply in Innofin, and a lot of activities, corporate RDI programs, university RDI programs, mid-caps investment programs, first-of-a-kind demonstration plants, you name it, can benefit from this already now. We have these programs in place. First-of-a-kind demonstration plants sometimes require additional, say, structuring efforts, because particularly when the performance risk is too high. When everyone is sitting at the table saying, listen, if it works, it'll be fine. But nobody, if we don't find enough certainty about the if, then we may use additional facilities that we are currently developing together with the Commission, but all this within limits. But if there, for instance, for a first-of-a-kind demonstration plants, there are huge market and regulatory risks, none of us can cover these, and we won't be in the position to finance such a project. So we can address certain risks within certain limits, but in the end, we are also still a bank, and public monies to de-risk projects are limited, so we have to use them very smartly. And on energy efficiency, in a way, the same applies. In addition, here we don't have the technology risk. We have the problem that we have many small projects, and we don't have enough liquidity that is willing to enter into the risk. And so we apply the same trick in a way. We say we bundle energy efficiency operations to a portfolio, and then again smartly use public money, which again take the first hit, would de-risk the whole thing, and all other participants would still take a risk, but appropriate to what they can bear. And this is the approach. A number of facilities which are currently being developed and under application. There's the European Energy Efficiency Fund, there's private finance for energy efficiency, just to name two of them. And at this point, I would like to relate to question number one on the structure funds. I believe that in principle, there could also be enormous potential for structure funding to enter into the same logic. So if, say, public banks and structural monies were brought together to such financial instruments, again, where the public money is taking the first hit, and we adjust it in a way so that we can crowd in risk-averse private monies, I do think that this could also mobilize enormous amounts of financing for appropriate projects, not for everything, certainly not, and with the charm of the potential that this money is being recycled afterwards and has enormous leverage. Yes, this is my comment to the structure fund topic.
So, Diego, your perspective, from the KIC perspective, how can we pull technologies through to commercial deployment? What can the KIC do to help us there?
Yeah, the way we integrate the supply chain is by design. So back in 2010, when the company was created, it was created by universities that bring low TRLs and human capital, by PROs, public research organizations like CEA, TNO, and so on, then the equipment manufacturers, the ABBs of the world, and then the utilities. And those 27 shareholders, they sign up for 15 years of commitment. That's a key aspect of, because it's not a one project-based integration, it's a 15-year-long strategy of all those players. And what we want to demonstrate is that the integration of the knowledge triangle, as we call it, it's more efficient than, or differently efficient than other mechanisms. So by design, we're integrating all the supply chain. Another important feature of Innoenergy is that in terms of finances, we put €1, but the partners, they put 3. So it's a 1 to 3 leverage. And they only put the 3 if they see a benefit for it. I mean, they're not there for the 1 that we put, it's because the market will pay whatever the market will pay for the technology that is developed. And that's very healthy, because then everything we do has, in principle, a market impact. Of course, we are a risk shop. In case we don't reach, then we don't reach, but in case we reach the final product and there is a market uptake, then there is a benefit for all the supply chain. The one commercialization technology, and the applied research, and then the big research. But our sweet spot, where we are positioned today, and where the rest of the stakeholders have accepted us, is above the TRL 4-5, and on the market readiness level, on the high levels.
Thank you very much. So this brings us to the end of this very interesting panel discussion. I hope you found it interesting. Just to recap one or two of the key points that came to me. I heard vision, I heard leadership, I heard collaboration across different stakeholder groups, across different parts of the innovation system. And actually, whenever we talk about collaboration, we also talk about complexity. So it's about overcoming this complexity, about understanding and addressing this complexity. And last but not least, we talked about implementation. That was the main the buzzword that stood out for me from all contributions, even from EERA, interesting enough. So implementation is the goal that we are aiming towards. And it's also the guiding light that we create for us, where all parts of the innovation, the funding chain, follow this light and this vision. So it's been a pleasure to talk with you. Thank you so very much for your contribution.